I thought you were taller than that. You need some, what, 8-inch heels?
Yeah.
That would do it.
Yeah.
It goes good with your, what do you got under there actually? Ooh.
Bought this dress at a garage sale a year and a half ago for a whopping $1. It had been used in the theater for quite a while, and you could kind of tell it is stained and ripped. I fixed some of the tears. There was a tear right here, and then there was a tear in the underarm that I fixed. And there's some that I just can't fix, but they're kind of in the back, so you can't really see them. But I thought it would be fun to, spruce it up and take some pictures in it for our anniversary. I definitely need to do something about these arms, though. They're quite tight. I can only move my arms to about here, and they're also very long. So I thought I'd take apart the sleeves and see what I could do to maybe make them look less deflated and maybe make them short sleeve. I don't know if that's possible. I'll need to unpick everything to see, and if not, I at least need to make them shorter because they're very long. I also need to hem it because it's about 3 inches way too long for me. But the train, there's so much train to it. So much. So let's get started. I wish I had footage of this dress when I first got it because I had actually done quite a bit of work on it prior to starting this video. My original intention was to actually take pictures in this dress this time last year, but then coronavirus and lockdown, and I wasn't able to take pictures, so I just quickly lost interest in it, which is why there's a lot of things that I had already fixed. The sign of a theater costume. Lipstick. I've got everything ironed and pressed as flat as I can get it. We actually have a lot to work with here. We've got the undersleeve, the long sleeve, this is the oversleeve. I don't know if you can see this, but you can kind of see some of the staining that I was talking about. And then we also have the gussets and the facing for the long sleeve. So I've got a lot of fabric here. Now I just need to figure out what kind of sleeve I want to make with this. Here is where I get to have a little bit of fun. Experimenting with a couple of sleeve options. What I did was I sewed the undersleeve part to the long sleeve part to try to give me like a nice sturdy base to work with. I've cut this out of some scrap cotton. I think it might be too short, but I'm gonna gather it and see. And then I've also copied this, the shape of the sleeve onto another piece of scrap cotton, and I think I'm just going to try to jimmy rig some kind of like weird shape out of it, better sleeve shape out of it, and try to gather that up and see if either of those work. Just as I suspected, the standard puff sleeve that I use all the time is just too small. But my jimmy rigged version is, while wonky in its shape, has a lot of volume, and I think will work. Lord, I hope it works. Please work. I'm gonna iron it flat and then copy it to paper, and then I will cut it out of the fabric. Wish me luck. Brain. Brain. You can do this. I don't know why every time I finish this step, I'm just at a standstill. Like, if this doesn't work, then I can maybe make short puffed sleeves. And if that doesn't work, I can just take off the train and have like a copious amount of fabric to work with still. Like, I have options. Like, if I mess this up, it's not the end of the world. And honestly, this is all I've cut off of this dress so far. Like, I'm good. Brain. I'm good. You're not gonna mess up. It's fine. It's fine. Top sleeve is sewn up. Undersleeve is sewn up. Set up the side seams. Now I'm just gonna baste the top sleeve to the undersleeve. And then I will figure out how I want the bottom to be. I did cut them a little bit shorter than they were, but I'm gonna need to cut them a little bit more short. And I think I'm gonna try to add the points back in because I think that was really cute. And then just use the facing that was there for the facing again. Maybe. I'm always like, maybe. I need to be more decisive. Yes, that is what I'm going to do, barring any problems. Sleeves are done. I just need to sew it to the dress now. I ended up leaving it long. There was a point where I was really fed up with the long sleeves and I thought about just making them short sleeves and being done with it. But then I remembered that I had these tiny little buttons in my stash that I had been saving for a formal dress. And what's more formal than a wedding dress? So I added those and it really made the difference. So let's sew it to the dress. I'm so excited to try it on with the new sleeves. It's looking so good. Yay! My anxiety about cutting off the hem and making it shorter. Whew. The last thing I need to do is sew down these hooks and eyes that have gone missing or started to come up. Dress is complete. All I have to do is sew in the shoulder pads. Then we're going to take pictures and video tomorrow in it. Went to Joann's today and got 3 yards of ivory tulle and then this cute little hair thing they had on sale that I wasn't intending to get, but it was just too cute to pass up. So I figured I will put it on the side of the veil. I'm gonna make a Juliet cap style veil, and then I'm gonna hold it in place with these little vintage combs that I had in my stash of random vintage things that who knows when you'll need. So I'm taking the area that I marked out and I can kind of see where it's wrinkled, and I just kind of want to follow that line and gather it up. Now I'm just sewing down the comb to where I gathered. Now what I've decided to do is cut off all these selvage edges along the side because I want it to look light and ethereal, and right now it's got this really harsh edge here. I took off some of the extra greenery and the comb because it just was not fitting properly. It kept falling out, so I'm just going to sew it directly to the veil like that. One reason why I needed this dress to turn out beautifully is because I have baggage when it comes to my own wedding dress. I love my wedding dress and I love my wedding. It was perfect. But when Derek and I got married, it was not a big deal. It was in a field, it was just us. I was not going to buy a wedding dress. Our wedding was on a Tuesday we had available. But my sister wanted to go wedding dress shopping with me. So I made an appointment at David's Bridal. We went, we tried on ridiculous dresses. It was fun. But then my sister found a dress on clearance. And it was perfect. It was vintagey without being pin-up. It allowed me to do cartwheels in it, and I love those pictures. So my sister and my dad decided that they were going to buy it for me and pay for the alterations. The only problem was that it was on clearance, and so they only had a size 6 available. Back then, I was a very tiny 00. But the salesperson promised me that they would be able to alter it down, and I believed her because back then I didn't sew, so I had no idea how much work that takes to bring a dress down that much. So when I went to the store's alterations woman, I put it on and she took one look at me and she said, "You should have chosen a different dress." I now know what that means. You should have chosen a different dress because this is going to take a lot of work and I can't guarantee that it's even going to look good. But back then what I heard was, "You look terrible in that dress." And I had already bought it. There's nothing I could do about it. But at that point, it just kind of ruined my wedding dress for me. And I look at those pictures, and even now, knowing what she meant, I still hear, "You should have chosen a different dress." And it looks beautiful. I love my wedding photos, but I wanted a dress that I felt really good about. And I wanted pictures with my husband in a wedding type setting that didn't have that baggage. So this is one of the reasons why I really wanted this dress to turn out really well, which is why I panicked every time I had to do something to it.